What's going on, y'all? It's Greg. Greg said it. Back with another one here. Y'all, the spring is kicking in. Them boys are back. Just a matter of time for the spring be over. Man, we be wishing. Headed towards the summer. And like I told you, just take your time because it's moving. Here, and it's the first day of April. I'm going to date it. It's not like it's not dated anyway. But y'all, I wanted to mention something. I meant to mention something in the live. You know, lives are shorter these days. You know, everybody was kind of excited and wondering about that spring game situation. I think I mentioned it before. But I want to explain something why I'm glad that spring game didn't happen. I get the whole economics of it, the excitement, the being the first. I get it. But when I tell you all, the real reason why I'm glad is that it didn't happen. I want Colorado to stay up on the radar as long as possible. I don't want nobody to get wind of what they about to be into this year. I want them to keep underestimating Colorado. I want them to keep saying, oh, they're just like that because they're against themselves. I want people to pay as little attention to them as possible until it's too late. Yeah, the last thing we can really have right now is them go smash Syracuse in the mouth. And yeah, they probably play it down. Syracuse not that good. Maybe they're good, maybe they're not. But the whole situation is, they really show what they got. People will have to take notice. They maybe even get some keys or something like that. But that's the beauty of not having a game. People can't really size you up. You know, a lot of people don't really pay attention to the spring game. Unless you just really diehard fans. Think about it. We only care about the spring game if we're watching everything Colorado do anyway. Most teams' fan base don't care about a spring game. That's why they can pack out a stadium during the regular season, but the spring game is like a few people. Even in the pros is like that. Mini camp games and practices is very scarce compared to the big arenas that they play in. So you got to think about the fact that not playing in that spring game allows Colorado to be hidden. What I mean by hidden? What I said. People are not really going to respect them and see them for who they really are because they haven't really seen them play yet. And a lot of times teams will play them first few games against teams that people don't really respect. And they can just keep writing you off until you get about 4, 5, 6 games in, and they say, oh, okay, now you're playing some competition, you're playing in the conference, and Colorado got a tough conference this year. But when you play well in the spring and you do really well, almost dominant like you would want, that made people say, oh, we got to start preparing for that player or this situation, that. Not saying you're going to show all your plays and stuff like that, but they can kind of size you up. So now we're looking at, okay, regular spring game, like it should be. Nobody checking for it. We don't get to see regular little plays and packages because you're not trying to give away too much information anyway. Just to kind of evaluate what you have, what you need, you know. Just highlight that. A celebration, a finalization of what you've done for the last several weeks. That's what it's all about. I think I realized the reason why they never played a game before. Because they ain't what it's about. Now, for somebody who really likes to benefit from the draw and the it factor and the excitement and the uniqueness, I get that's why Coach Prime wanted to do it. And yeah, it's true, you get tired of banging on each other. You're going to have to bang on each other all the way through summer. And you're trying to get a real look. You're trying to get a real look about what you need because you are a person who want to make corrections. You got a little professionalism in you. But at the same time, you're giving other people a real look who you need to keep asleep. You need to keep them in denial, in confusion, delusion about who you are because they keep thinking you're a joke. Oh, you ain't got nothing. Oh, your player's gone. You ain't got nobody with experience. You got a new team. You got a new coaching staff. You need to keep them in that thought process. Not, oh, what is that? We need to take them. See, one thing Colorado had against them over the last year, and really two, everybody treated them like a Super Bowl because look who they had. They didn't care if they were a better team. They want to show out Coach Prime for one. They want to show off Shador. They want to show out on Travis. Everybody want to prove they the best against them. The fans going to show up. Everybody's showing up to see that. But when you don't have that, teams may have the tendency to look past you because you're not a real threat. Or, I know the scouts ain't going to be there. You see this guy, I want to show him up in front of the scouts or my opportunity to be seen. They kind of take their foot off the brakes. We've seen that. We've seen Kansas, like, run through all these top teams, like, 3 weeks in a row. I think they went through BYU. They went through Iowa State. All the people who were trying to win, except Arizona State. They went through this little run and then got smashed by Baylor, like right after Colorado. They was living on that high. But Baylor's like, oh, you know, we don't beat Colorado and beat everybody else. Baylor went in to play with. Baylor smashed them because they took their feet off that gas. They got content. They felt like they made it. We beat everybody else. Surely we can beat Baylor. That's what teams do. That's the dangerous, that's that type of team that you can mess around and play at the wrong time and take your foot out there. You go on into a break or coming off a break and you looking ahead and you got that sleeper team that gets you in because they're more talented than you want to give them credit for, but they ain't that team. Or they not the team with the big name. And you mess around and play with them like it's a joke and they got a well-rounded team. No big name guys, but you better respect them. They tear you up. That's who Colorado needs to be. That's who they need to be seen as long as possible. They don't need to be respected. They don't need to be like, oh, well, that quarterback is pretty good. Oh, that defense is tough. No, play with them. Say, oh, they ain't got nobody, and play with them till they about 6 games in, till you can no longer can play with them. And then by game 7, be like, oh, they might be doing a little something. And maybe they are pretty good. As long as they can stay in that mode, the better off they are. Because you don't really want people to start treating you like the Super Bowl. Well, if I beat this team, it means something. You still got Coach Prime there and all the all-star coaches. But as of now, you haven't identified any big name people. You haven't identified, you got potential guys, potential at receiver, potential at quarterback, potential at running back, potential on the line. Nobody can really even say who's going to be who and nothing. You got potential on the defensive line, potential guys who can go to the next level at linebacker and cornerback, safety. They all have potential, but there is no guy that you know going to be on that list like that for the Heisman. There's no guy that you automatically say, oh, this guy going to be first team, all conference. No doubt. Like last year. Now, I wouldn't be surprised you don't see a lot of guys on the preseason, this preseason that. Now, maybe postseason, if they do well, but you ain't going to have all these guys on the preseason list. That's another reason people should know Colorado's going to do well last year. They had a lot of guys on the preseason all-conference and all-American list. And people act surprised. But you got to think about when you don't have a bunch of guys. Nobody really know these guys. They come from other conferences. You're going to have far less guys on there. It's hard for them to predict what you're going to do in that conference. You're going to sneak up on some people because they can like, you got, what, 1 or 2 guys on the all-conference versus last year you had 8, 9, 7, whatever. That's an indicator. But you're a returning team, but you don't have a lot of returning guys who did something last year. You got a lot of potential. And you need to ride that potential right down people's throat. Because they're going to treat you like what they see you as until you prove it. And so don't give them the courtesy of knowing what you got this early. That's why I don't want them to play and didn't want them to play in this game. Purely that. Maybe selfish to that extent. Keep them hidden. Sneak up on people. But that's just me. Greg said it. Y'all have them by now. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and I'll be talking to y'all soon.